Hi guys, I have another Copic coloring and card tutorial for you today, and today I'm coloring Mixed Media Girl 1 by Little Blue Button Stamps, which was a stamp for the new release this month. I really like these kind of heads that you can use both for your mixed media but also for your cards if you want to, and I use them for my cards, but I do get a lot of inspiration that they are for mixed media, so this time I'm actually going to make my own background paper. So that is going to be fun. When it comes to her skin, again, I have used the Human Rainbow chart. It is brilliant, and I'm having so much fun kind of combining different earthy tones that I haven't done before. I do as I usually do. I first block out the shadows with the lightest color that I have, and then I'm going in from the darkest to the lightest, and I'm using a purple for the absolute darkest colors again, and this time it's V15. So I really like this color scheme because it is on the lighter side but still a little bit of a darker skin tone. Also, it mixes yellowish and reddish browns, creating a more natural skin tone, I think, than many of the combinations that I usually do. And when I do my kind of coloring, this is applicable both for my skin and the hair especially. That is, I first block out all the shadows in the lightest colors, then I'm going in from dark to light, kind of adding shadows where I want them, and then I'm going over once more where I actually extend all of the shadows in places, because then I know that okay, I can take more of the darkness in here without destroying the image. If I would have started with adding a lot of shadow and then realizing that it is too much, it would be very hard to go back and change that. You can always add darkness, it's very hard to add light. I also used the tip-to-tip method for the lightest part of the skin, because of this image being as big as it is. The lines were starting to show and I wanted a smoother blend there, so then the tip-to-tip method is a very good one. When it comes to her hair, I also have a new hair combination. I found it over at the blog called Crafty Kitten. She makes beautiful coloring, and she had this this hair color where she uses the E40s that I usually do, but the lighter color were the E30s, and that gave this color combination a little bit more of a warmer tone. The E40s are very cold brown. The E30s are a little bit warmer, not a lot of warmer, but a little bit warmer, and has a little bit more of a yellowish tone into it. So I really liked how that came out. Little kind of caution when you are looking at other people's color combination. You have to think about that different screens will render images differently. And as a crafter, I will always strive to try to make my photos as look as similar to as my card looks in real time, which means I take them in Photoshop and I enhance the colors. I do not do any kind of editing on the image itself. I just uses like the color curves and stuff to try to make it look as good as possible and match the card that I've done as much as possible. But that means it's how it looks on my own screen. And also different camera takes up colors differently, depending on what kind of lighting you have when you take your pictures will also make it come out differently. So it's easier if you really want to know if your color combinations will match with each other, and do some swatches, but you will get kind of a ballpark where the colors, how the colors will look when you do it. And also when it comes to hair, which I think is awesomely fun, is that it also depends on how much you have of the different colors. For example, if you look here now, it's kind of a light brown, a very kind of blonde hair, and if I would have left it this, it would be a very blonde image. But I'm going in another layer and I'm extending all the shadows just as I did with the face, and her hair gets a lot darker just by kind of pulling in the colors from the shadowy parts towards the lighter parts, which I really like. And as you know, I usually do things twice, not as often on clothes and other parts, but on hair and on my faces I do go over twice almost every time, because I get depth that I don't get if I just do it once, and also it means that I can get these kind of the kinks in her hair to show up just the way that I want it to show up. I really love how these colors work together to kind of create a very alive hair, and I really love the image itself because it really lends itself to do this kind of hair, but you can get so many different versions of this image. If you go over to the Little Blue Button Stamps blog, you will find a whole bunch of different images working with these stamps, and what I really like with working with Olga is that all of us DT members have different aesthetics, which means that you will get very different outtakes of the same image. So I really think you should go over to the store blog that is for the stamps I'm using, because the different store blogs have a lot of different shows of the different stamps. So yeah, here I'm using some kind of muted reds. I'm actually using reds, I'm using an earth tone, the EO4, and some red violets, mixing together to work perfectly to put together a certain tone of color. I'm actually going to match this with some of the Tim Holtz distress inks, or more, I did this color scheme to work with the distress inks that I'm using for this card. I'm finishing it up by going around with my colorless blender and kind of pushing in the color that I have colored outside the lines. I usually don't show this on camera, but I thought I'd show this time. Then I'm carefully cutting the image out, and where the image has a proper delimiter with black lines, she gets a little bit of a white border, but where her shoulder is, it's supposed to kind of just go out, so I don't give those parts a white delimiter. Now it comes to this little distress ink background. I'm actually using a little bit of tape on the back side of my Nina, which is 4 by 5 1/4, to kind of get it to sit better onto my little sheet that I have taped onto my craft mat, so that everything sits straight, so it's easier to blend colors. I am using 3 different distress inks for this: Tattered Rose, Victorian Velvet, and Aged Mahogany. I'm actually not after getting a perfect blend, otherwise I would work much more with the color, but I want to have kind of a modeled effect. When it comes to the Aged Mahogany, I'm trying to use not as much, just in the borders. It is a very strong color, and I got very many inky fingers from this, but I had a lot of fun. And after using the Aged Mahogany, I'm going back with the Victorian Velvet and then the Tattered Rose to kind of blend a little bit to remove the harsh signs. Then I'm using some of these stencils. It's a burlap stencil, it's also a dot fade, and at the finish I think it splashes. All of those are Tim Holtz stencils that I'm playing around with. I started with adding the stencils with the Aged Mahogany, and then I'm going over the same stencils with the Victorian Velvet to kind of build up a depth in it. As the last kind of stencil, I'm using these splatters, and I'm starting out just using the Victorian velvet, but at the last thing I'm doing these circles, and then I'm actually doing half in one ink and half in the other. And that is the background finished. I'm going to make a very simple card. I'm cutting a mat down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm cutting a piece of Nina in 2 so that I can score it at 4 1/4 and make an A2 size card. I like the size. I said this before, I really like the size of card because I don't need to use too many embellishments or too few. So that is one of the reasons why I've used the standard size all the time. I am taping all the layers together with the Crafter's Companion tape runner. I really like these tape runners. I actually did place a new order of them. They have 22 meters of length, so you get a lot of them in them. They're pretty cheap. You get 4 for £10. So I really like them. They sit good in my hand, and yeah, they're good. I just layer everything together. I think I have cut the mat a little bit crooked because it looks crooked on the card. And then as the finishing part, I'm actually adding the character onto foam tape onto the card. It's the 3M Scotch foam tape. And that is the card for today. I hope you liked it. If you do, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions or comments, just comment down below in the comment section. If you want to see more videos like this, you can always hit that subscribe button. Here are 2 other videos that I've used the little blue button stamps with, and I hope you like them too. And I'll see you later. Bye!